2020 Rich County Fair. Today we have the Junior Livestock Show. Happy to have you with us here on a beautiful Utah afternoon. My name is Matthew Peterson, and we're going to bring you all of our competitors today and their livestock, and we're happy to have you with us. So we'll be going here in just a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here at the 2020 Rich County Fair.
Stouts Equipment, your local John Deere dealership, is your source for new and used equipment, parts, and service. The family-owned company was established in 1947 and still holds true to its founding values: quality, integrity, loyalty, caring, and community. From John Deere tractors and gators to mowers and handheld power tools, they have what you need to get the job done. Let them make your life easier. Stouts Equipment is located in Preston at 451 West, 800 North. Stop by today or give them a call at 208-852-3660.
Welcome back to the 2020 Rich County Fair, brought Deere dealership. We appreciate them for making this possible today, and we're excited to have you. We've got a lot of great competitors who will be showing off their first class of lambs to begin the show today, so we'll get that going in just a few moments. We've got the PA announcer right now talking above me, getting all the competitors ready. We've got a wide variety of ages, and we're happy to have you with us. Once again, my name is Matthew Peterson. Joining me today on the broadcast will be Randy Mills, and we're excited to show you guys what will be a great Rich County Fair. Randy, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Happy to have you here. We may have some technical issues. We're just trying to work out Brandy's microphone, but until we get going here, we'll have a number of competitors today, and they'll be showing off the lambs and sheep first. Brandy, do we hear you?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Okay. Now we got Brandy going. Brandy.
Hey.
So, Brandy, tell us a little bit about the program today and what the kids have been doing leading up to this moment.
So, the kids that are showing the livestock today, they all purchased their animals earlier in the spring. Our steers that we're going to see a little bit later on were actually purchased in the fall. And these kids have been working with these animals ever since then. And they've been working towards getting them to prime condition. We like to see what represents the industry the very, very best. That's why we have our Junior Livestock Show. So that's what they've been working really hard with, feeding them, walking them. If you go through any of our local towns at any given evening, you may see pigs walking down the street, lambs walking down the street, goats working with their animals. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the big theme is working.
Working.
Can you highlight that a little more about what kind of a regular day could be with someone raising a pig or a sheep?
It requires so much work for these kids. It starts with from the time that they pick up those animals from the breeders. They have to come up with a feeding plan. We tag them in, give them a certain tag number, and we give them a beginning weight. And from there, they're trying to reach an optimal weight for the show. So they have to come up with their own kind of feeding program on what they should be feeding their animal to get it to that optimal weight. So they're feeding it twice a day. Some are working with them, feeding them 3 times a day. And they usually start working with them right from the very get-go, including the walking, washing them. A lot of kids we find just like to go play with them, hang out in the barns with them. And you'll see today some of these animals that are extremely gentle. Some of them are because those kids, some of them are, I wouldn't be surprised if they sleep in the barns with them sometimes.
A lot of hard work paying off indeed. So I've noticed a number of these kids, this is not their first year in this fair. So what's the not the turnover ratio, but the return ratio of people coming back year in and year out? You
know what? We actually do really pretty good for the number of animals that we have. And most of the kids, once they get in the program, if they start young, which for 4-H, we start them at 3rd grade, is the first year that they can do it. When they're 8 years old in 3rd grade, they will stay with the program all the way up through their senior year. If they stay with the program and do it year after year, they're 10-year members when they walk away from this. And that's a lot of fun to see. And so most of them, once they start, they will stay with it. and I think it's really exciting. We don't have a huge turnover rate. Honestly, we are just looking to grow our program every year, and this year we actually outgrew our hog pens. We had to convert some of our other species pens into hog pens because we outgrew our hogs.
That's
so
fantastic.
It's exciting.
And it'd be hard not to mention the constant changing and uncertainty of our society right now.
True.
Has the fair or these kids been impacted by this virus?
Oh, absolutely. So typically on a typical year, we are doing clinics in person. We have what we call a pre-show, which is just a little chance for the kids to come in July and do a practice show. And all of that was canceled this year. So because we couldn't gather together. So there's been a tremendous impact. What we were able to do is we were able to sponsor some clinics with some other counties that they are a lot bigger counties, have a lot bigger staff and resources than we are, and we piggybacked with them to offer clinics for these kids, which was awesome. They were able to do them online. And so as they were able to do them online, then they were able to still learn different techniques like feeding techniques. They would have some showmanship, examples. There were some selection examples that they could, like if they had, some of them like to tag in multiple animals. They can tag in up to 3 per child, per exhibitor, per species. And we talked about different selection on how they can, find what is the best type of an animal that they should be choosing. So all of those clinics they were able to do online. It's just not quite the same when we get to see each other face to face. So we really missed that this year. Our pre-show we didn't have at all. So some of these little first year guys, that it's their very first year, this is their first time in a rink because we didn't have that opportunity. So some of them are a little bit nervous. We might even see a few tears.
I think there'll be some tears of both sides and a lot of joy here. And we got a shot right now of Judge Jim Hansen. He's telling our competitors,
Jim Jensen,
excuse me, what they're looking for. And can you highlight a little bit of what the judges or the judge here, Jim, is looking for in this livestock?
Like I said, they're looking for optimal market animals. So today when we're moving into our sheep show, he's going to be looking for a lamb that exhibits the sheep market the very, very best. You're going to see, he's going to be probably putting little hands on the animals. He's going to feel and do a little measurement on that loin. He's going to look at their back. He's going to look at the structure of their legs. He's going to look at all of these type of things because we are looking for the very best of the best with these animals.
And can you talk a little bit about the prices that are going to go for these animals later on? I noticed on the wall inside of the worker shed here, I saw some numbers associated with some animals. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, and maybe when we get our break, I will actually get those numbers out here with us so that we can share our floor prices. But what we do here at our auction is we sell by the pound.
Okay.
So for example, we're gonna see some 99-pound lambs come in here in just a moment, and so that 99-pound lamb, when we auction it, we are auctioning it per pound. So a lot of these kids, I hope to see them do well this year. The market has been a little bit tough, and our floor prices are, when I talk about our floor prices, that's a price that the buyers, it's kind of the baseline price for them. And so we go up from there when we sell them. And, with the market the way it's been a little tough. So some of our numbers are a little bit down. But most of these kids, our goal is hopefully to clear the price of their animal, clear the price of their feed, and move into making a profit.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here. That was Brandy Mills. She'll be alongside me for the rest of today. Once again, our fair today brought to you by Stoats Equipment in Preston, your local John Deere dealership. We'll be right back with more.
You don't want to choose between quality and quantity. And with John Deere 6M Series utility tractors, you don't have to. The powerful loader tractor with incredible visibility and maneuverability allows you to easily make your way through tight corrals, feed your herd, bale your hay, and mow in comfort. With 8 models ranging from 110 to 195 horsepower, the 6M is fully customizable, so you get everything you need and nothing you don't. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us, Stotz Equipment, your local John Deere dealership, located in Preston at 451 West 800 North. Stop by today or give them a call, 208-852-3660.
Welcome back here to the 2020 Rich County Fair, brought to you by Stotz Equipment in Preston. And we are just about to get underway with our junior livestock. And up first will be Sarah Wamsley. We'll touch on her in a moment here as our competitors are getting ready. And Brandy, to my left, we've got 2 young ladies with cowboy hats and cowgirl hats and some ribbons on them. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, these cute little gals are part of our Rich County Road Fair and Rodeo royalty.
You don't want to
And
choose between quality and
they are
And with John,
they are part of the royalty for the Rich County Fair and Rodeo, and they help us every year with presenting all of our ribbons and prizes for our youth. So that's what they're getting briefed right now on what they're going to get handed. So before our animals leave the ring, they will receive their ribbons. We'll see, how the judge chooses to place them: blue, red. Hopefully, we don't see any white animals today.
What does white mean?
White is a little bit lower class, but I hope these kids have done a great job.
I'm sure they have.
See that we, I have a lot of faith in them this year, and so we'll also see before the show is over. At the end, we're going to see our top market animals as well as our top showmanship. That's a little bit different this year for us. In the past, we typically have per species, which here at Rich County Junior Livestock, we have 4 species that we show for market, and every year we have a showmanship as well as a market show for each of the species. Due to some of the COVID restrictions, and we're trying to reduce the number of the crowds in person, we opted to combine those 2 classes together. A little bit different, a little bit challenging for these kids because they show a little bit different.
Are you talking age groups here in classes?
I'm talking, so when they do their showmanship, they typically will come out by age group.
Okay.
They will come out, the 3rd through 5th graders are our juniors, and the 6th through 8th graders are our intermediates, and the 9th through 12th graders are our seniors. And when they do showmanship, they're always competing against the kids in those age groups. Now, when we talk market, they're competing overall, and they're split into classes by weights. And so our judges he's got a little bit of a double duty this year because he's going to be judging both showmanship and market at the same time. And it is a little bit of extra work for our youth because there is a few different things that they might do when they are showing a market animal versus a showmanship animal.
Can you expand now what the difference is between a market animal and a showmanship animal?
So a showmanship animal, a lot of times what the kids are doing is the judges looking at the kids when they're doing their showmanship, and when they do the market, he's really looking at the animal. So some kids are a little bit more making sure that the judge sees them as well as their animal. They may try to do a little more interaction, facial features, different things like that. You see some of that happen a little bit with the showmanship. Slightly different techniques. The market show, a lot of kids are extremely serious. They just want to show that animal to the very best of their ability. They want that animal to look its very, very best.
And what things can people do to make their animal look top notch?
So all of our kids back here, they have been working. These animals have been washed, they've been bathed, they've been clipped, they've been shaved, they've been all different kinds of techniques.
So a little cheap beauty school, essentially.
Exactly. They've been pampered to the utmost degree today. You might even see, they might
nail polish.
I haven't seen nail polish. But, I've seen some jackpots where they get a little excited and there's a little glitter across their back. So there's a little bling going on. We don't see that a lot up here. We're pretty down to the earth kind of folks up here, so but I have seen that before. But so I know you talked about that Sarah, we'll see Sarah pretty quick. We'll actually see we're actually going to see more than Sarah. So in the first class, we're going to have the following youth that will be coming in. We'll have 2 classes of market lambs today. And in the first class, we'll have Sarah Wamsley, Carson Groll, Carter Groll, Damon Wasden, James Wamsley, Bodie Levitt, Araya Osler, and Dylan Wasden. And the reason that these kids are all coming in together is we've broke our market show into 2 classes in which the animals are most like in weight, so that the judge is seeing them in their most like. What I don't know, just in the ring, he's got them. They're the most alike. Mm-hmm. So these lambs are going to weigh from 99 pounds up to 125 pounds.
I've noticed a lot of siblings here. How
True.
competitive does it get within the family, you think, when brother and sister, brother and brother, sister and sister are going up against each other?
Oh, there's no mercy.
There's no mercy.
It actually can change. So I have 4 kids myself. 5. One that only did it for a couple of years, but I have 5 kids that have been in the junior livestock program by themselves. They showed lambs, and yeah, there's no mercy. You just it's dog eat dog.
And we're about to see the lambs come out now, as our junior contestants have them all lined up in the pen ready to exit.
Yep, these are actually just our first class. So in this class you're going to see junior, intermediate, and senior. And I see some nervous faces there because there are definitely some little guys that this is going to be a first year for them.
So this first class is purely about the weight of the animal.
Correct. So we've got Bodie, Araya, Dylan, Damon. Here comes Carter. Oh, I didn't see who was behind Carter. Let me look.
I love the socks
Sarah.
all these lambs have on right now.
It's a fitting technique. James is in the rear. Oh, Carson is right behind Carter. All right, so we got 2 brothers right there by each other. So that is actually a fitting technique where they leave that leg wool on.
And why do they do that?
It's kind of just a classy look.
Okay, I like it.
So it's not required.
No, but it looks great. I mean,
so when I was a youth, I was in 4-H, did my 10 years, and I showed lambs. And back then we did not. So they shear them now in what they call a slick shear. So if you were to put a hand on that lamb, it's going to feel very smooth. Everything is cut really short. They call it a slick shear. But when I was showing, they didn't do that. We sheared them and they left a little wool on them. And then we had to take hand clippers to clip them out and fit them to make them look the very best that we could.
And can you tell me about how much work these kids are putting in right now to keep their animals still? Because it looks like it's a battle.
It is a battle. This is a lot of practice right here. That these kids have been working with these animals and doing this very thing. They are setting them up. That's when they square them with the back legs and the front legs, they call that setting them up. And then they are bracing them, so they want the lamb to push into them. You'll see that a lot of them maybe have a little knee that they'll put right along that lamb's chest just to get that lamb to push into them. Mm-hmm. It makes all of those back muscles taut, and that's what we're looking for. And see right there with Araya right now, she's got her knee into that lamb, and the judge is feeling it. That's why she's got her knee right there. It also is a double duty kind of thing. It gives the kids a little more control if they're solid on their feet, and not, as long as that lamb is not bigger than them, which we may see that. There may be a few of those. And
right now the judge checking out each lamb, and they're looking to see just the muscle tone and things like that.
Correct. And he's doing a little, as he's bringing his hands down there, he's doing a little measuring too. And he's measuring to see who's got the widest, the widest loin, and who's got the the best rag, who's got, he's checking out all of those different features on the lambs.
And is there a difference between people that are standing back and those that have moved forward?
As you know, there is going to be difference. I don't know what that difference is yet.
Yeah, some people got put in a different pile, and I'm curious why.
Well, here's what happens with most judges. As they see these lambs, they start to sort them into how they would like what he likes in them. Mm-hmm. This line that he moved up, this may be his favorites. It may be ones that he's not sure. Yeah. He really likes, and so there's a little bit of a difference there, but we don't know what that is yet. Every judge is a little different on how they judge and how they present these animals in the ring. Honestly, some judges they even change it up with each species, so it's hard to guess.
Well, he's making some directions right now, moving traffic around.
So I'm gonna be really curious to see how Jim does this today. He is a very accomplished judge. He's been judging for a very long time, and he's very accomplished. So where he's judging both showmanship and market at the same time, we'll see what happens here. He might switch things up. He might have these kids show each other's lambs for a minute. You don't see that in a market class, but sometimes you do see that in a showmanship class. So I'm not sure if he'll do that today, but he might.
One more time, let's run through all of our contestants today. We got Sarah Wamsley, Carson Groll, and then we got Carter Groll. We have Damon Wasden, James Wamsley. The wind is blowing here. Bodie Levitt, I beg your pardon. Araya Osler, and we skip one. Dylan Wasden.
Yep, and that's it for Class 1.
And our official Jim still checking them all out.
You'll notice too in the different showing techniques. So if you can see the kids' arms, they have a 4-H patch that just represents that they are a 4-H member, but they also are wearing a colored ribbon. That is not typical. Because we have combined our showmanship and our market together this year, that is our judge's designation for which age group they are in, a junior, an intermediate, or a senior age group. So as he's looking at this, both directions, he's also looking at that. So we've got our juniors are wearing yellow ribbons around their arms, our intermediates have red ribbons, and our seniors are wearing green ribbons. And this is a little bit different this year. We're just hoping for the best.
And you notice some of the animals here are not happy about being held down like this. Is that a product of just being in here for too long, or just having a bad day sometimes?
It's a bad day.
Yeah.
It's typically a bad day. You've got some kids that have spent hours and hours and hours walking their lamb, and they get here in the ring. It's on a different grass, different environment, different everything, and the lambs are just as nervous as those kids sometimes. But and then you'll have some lambs are just plain knotheads. It doesn't matter what you do, they just are knotheads. So they're gonna fight you at every single cost.
Every right turn, every left turn, they don't want to do it.
Exactly.
And right now, with the judge, what do you think he's looking for here?
This is really. I'm really interested to see where he's going with this. I think he's just lining them up to. I'm not even sure if he's looking at if he's doing more of looking at a showmanship aspect or a market right now. But he's watching those back ends pretty close. So he's watching their leg structure and how they walk towards him. Sometimes you can tell a lot with the soundness of an animal by how they walk. Mm-hmm. So a lot of judges watch them walk to them. Some of them will watch them walk away from them, and you can tell an awful lot about it. I'm watching these kids, and I'm pretty proud of them for considering that we didn't do our pre-show this year, that they are, things are a little bit rougher, and they all seem to be holding their own, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about it. This is a unique year for everyone.
Yeah.
And a lot of challenges along the way, so you've got to tip your cap to these kids here that have persevered and, mustered through it.
The bottom line, I feel like, with a year like this is that, not all of these kids are going to walk out of here with a buckle, but, they all deserve one for surviving this year to this point. I mean, how many of these kids were thrown into a brand new school situation and, not seeing their friends and all of those things, yet here they are. So, he's got something he's going to tell us.
Yep.
So he's conferring with our clerk. We have a clerk in the ring that is there to help him. She can help direct the animals wherever he wants them if he needs, or she's going to take notes if he needs them. And so she's kind of the backup plan. Oh, I think he's going to talk.
He's got a wireless microphone, so we'll be able to hear him.
Okay.
Hope he does not make our ears bleed.
There we go. We'll see how this is going to work out for us. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited about this show. There's some really, really nice lambs here. This is our lighter weight class. I wouldn't necessarily call them lightweight. They all fit comfortably into the market area. And for me, they're really easy blue ribbons. For a blue ribbon lamb, for me, they have to be pretty complete. They have to have enough condition, be structurally pretty good, both the skeletal structure and the musculature structure, and then have quite a bit of muscle. And these are all above average in muscle. There's a few of them that are kind of borderline for me on condition. I would like to see just a little more on them, but they have so much muscle and are nice enough structured that I'm going to leave everything in the blue ribbon row. Down here, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down here in 8th place is the lamb that maybe has the least combination of muscle, condition, and structure. He's a little bit straight in the hock set and the hind legs, and then a little bit soft in his pasterns. Plenty of muscle to him, but I'd like to see just a little more condition on him. But still a really, really easy kind of a blue ribbon lamb. Young man here with our blue lamb. This is a lamb that walks really close from behind. Maybe doesn't have the natural thickness to walk out wide. When you look at this lamb from behind, maybe that pin set could be just a little wider. He could be a little fuller down in that hind leg, but a really, really strong, straight top on him. Another lamb that's just a little bit less condition on it than I would like. And then a really, really powerful big hip kind of a lamb, a really nice top to him. But the other one that for me is a little bit bare in his condition. This lamb isn't quite as eye appealing and attractive maybe from the side as the two below him or the two above. But this is the most powerful, heaviest muscled lamb in our blue ribbon row here. And then a really expressive muscled, really wide pinned super skeleton on this kind of a blue weather lamb. I'd like to have this lamb just a little bit more condition and maybe a little bit deeper in his muscle pattern to be up here in our purple category, but just a lamb that with just maybe even a couple of weeks time could be really, really tough and be right up here. Then the lamb that is the most properly conditioned in my mind's eye here on the left, the one that I have standing in fourth. This lamb doesn't have as much style and muscle maybe as the one right below, especially back here in the hind leg and coming down, not near the muscle that we have down here, but overall just kind of a more complete lamb. The condition I like better. You really like the top and the shape of this lamb. The structure you like a little better than when we get down in here. Just maybe like to power him up to be up here with our three lambs. I'm not going to place these three right now. We're going to give you purple ribbons, and we're going to ask you to come back in our star group. So when we ask for our champion drive, you three will come back in. You also, all three of you, are doing a really nice job in showmanship. Young man here, you're maybe stretching out just a little too far. That's a warning for the next class you come into, because you're going to be in the hunt for our showmanship drive, okay? For those of you in the audience, the colored armband that they have on their arm tells us what age group they are in. And so we're going to look at these three in the drive for the champion. And if you look at the armbands, we have the young lady here that's in the senior age group. We have the two young men that are both intermediates, and they will be in the hunt for that in our star class, okay? Our juniors that I'm going to ask to come back in are the young lady here with the blue weather lamp, okay? And the young man down here on this far end. So you guys will come back in when we ask for the star lambs to come back in, and we'll judge you for showmanship. You won't be in the hunt necessarily up there for the champion lamb, but you'll be in our junior drive for showmanship, okay? Nice job, all of you, and I'm going to give blue ribbons in showmanship. You've all really done a nice job. A couple things that maybe you could work on, especially some of our younger showmen. When you walk in, if you have one hand underneath the jaw, that's great. If you have the other one on the back, remember what we said about trying to make that back look really strong and straight? If you set your hand on their back goes down. Put that hand right behind their ears, right where your halter goes across, because that's how they're broke to lead. When you lead them with a halter, you're putting pressure right there and right here. So if you'll put your hands there, they lead better that way. And then the other thing with all of you here, if you'll stay a little bit straighter in line, one real advantage that you have in a lamb showmanship class is you have a hold of that lamb and you can feel every time they move. Every time they move, look down and reset the feet and legs, okay? They should be straight. All of you did a really nice job at one time or another setting those feet and legs, but then your lambs would move and you wouldn't reset them. But you're doing a super job. Thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. We're going to give blues in showmanship and in our quality class. Nice job, guys.
Excellent job by all of our competitors today as they exit the pen here. And I mean, you just got to tip your cap to all the hard work they put into this, and what a great payoff. And we're going to have three come back later on so we can get a final 1, 2, and 3 placement. But overall, a fantastic and just great job by every single one of them.
That is true. He is going to bring back those top three, which will be James Wamsley, Bodie Levitt, and Araya Osler are all going to come back for that champion drive. And but he's also going to bring back to look at their showmanship qualities again. He's going to bring back Araya again, Bodie again, and James. So they'll be back out here for that final drive. But he's also going to have Sarah Wamsley and Carson Groll come back to look at their qualifications to win that overall buckle for the showmanship in the junior category.
So a lot to be sorted out still, and we're going to get ready for our next group of competitors here. And that will be our second class of lambs, which will happen after the break. We really appreciate you making this wonderful Thursday a part of your day here at the Rich County Fair, brought to you by Stoats Equipment in Preston. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Stoats Equipment, your local John Deere dealership, is your source for new and used equipment, parts, and service. The family-owned company was established in 1947 and still holds true to its founding values: quality, integrity, loyalty, caring, and community. From John Deere tractors and gators to mowers and handheld power tools, they have what you need to get the job done. Let them make your life easier. Stotz Equipment is located in Preston at 451 West, 800 North. Stop by today or give them a call at 208-852-3660.
Okay. And we're back here at the 2020 Rich County Fair, brought to you by Stotz Equipment in Preston, your local John Deere dealership. Let's talk about the second class here, Brandy. What do we have out here?
Okay, so this would be our considered our heavier weight of our lambs this year. Again, we just had the 2 classes this year, and so these lambs are going to weigh anywhere from 127 to 139. Again, we're looking for that optimal lamb, that perfect lamb that represents the industry. And that's what our Judge Jim Jensen is looking for today.
And let's introduce the kids today here. We've got Katharina Smith. We have Daniel Smith. We have Cassidy Groll. We have Chaseley Levitt and Dottie Morse, Rebecca Wamsley, and last but not least, Jaden Groll. And all these kids, just like the last bunch, put in such hard work over the last couple months.
Yes. I think it's kind of interesting. You're going to see a little bit of a different show in this class than the other one. I look at these showmen out here, and interestingly enough, this is a lot more of our older youth that are showing in this class. So we're going to see a few more of our older kids. We still got a couple of the younger ones, but you're going to see a little bit different on the showmanship. Some of these kids have been showing for. Looking in the ring, I think probably the longest we've got maybe some 9-year members in there that have been showing for 9 years, so there's a little bit of experience there behind them.
Yeah, talk about 9 years. Cassidy Groll, her 9th year here in the program. She'll be going into 11th grade this fall, and we'll run through the names as well here. We got some very creative names.
Oh yes.
For our lambs. Katharina Smith brought out Woody. I think it might be a little bit of a tribute to Toy Story. Daniel Smith and Hyper. I wonder if that name was given to him because of his personality.
We'll see. It might get a little Western here before it's all said and done.
Cassidy Groll with the name Brutus. I love the Caesar reference. And Chaseley Levitt with Gunner.
Yep, Chaseley,
I beg your pardon. Dottie Morse with Beast. Rebecca Wamsley with Sparky. I bet Sparky and Hyper get along well. And Jaden Groll brings Spud into the mix.
That is actually really every year. These kids, they name their animals. I mean, they just become a part of those lives for those months that they have these animals in their life. One of the things that is really interesting is these are all market animals. So by Saturday, these animals are sold and gone, and they've been a part of these kids' daily lives for, like I said, most of the lambs and goats and swine, they would have come to their homes, the end of April, beginning of May. Most of these steers that we're going to see, they pick them up right around November time. So, it's been a good chunk of these kids' lives for this year that these animals have been in there.
Can you give me a glimpse here of what an everyday schedule may look like raising a lamb? Absolutely.
So, most of these lambs, when you're raising lambs in the summertime, or any animal for that matter, just like a human, they're gonna want to eat when it's cooler. If it gets really hot, we don't really have an appetite. Well, neither do these animals. So a lot of these kids are getting up bright and early in the morning to feed them in the cool temperatures. And if they're doing 2-a-day feeding, then they're doing it again, later in the evening. So it's a huge commitment that is happening twice a day, for a lot of these animals. So kids start out early in the morning with their animals. They may feed them, water them, let the animals eat, and then they'll go rest, maybe wander back to the feed and water throughout the day. Most of these kids are coming back in the evening hours because it's a little bit cooler then, to not only maybe give them a second feeding, but to work with them, because it's easier sometimes to work with them in those cooler hours. Plus, if we're in the heat, just like people, if we're being pushed in the heat, maybe we're going to lose a little weight. Well, with a market animal, that's what you don't want to happen. unless it's overweight. And then you want them to lose a little.
Mm-hmm. And we're seeing some of these lambs here more stable or better yet less stable than others. How much of that factor does that play into the judge's decision?
You know, so a couple of things. Since we have combined that market show and the showmanship together today, so in a market class, he really isn't. If that animal is bouncing all over the place, you know, it is hard to get a good side view. You'll see that some of them just stand still. So at any given time, he can walk up and down that line and look back, and he gets at a glimpse of that lamb. And that's what they want, is you want him to be able to see that lamb and look at it at a glance. So, you know, if you get a lamb that's being a little bit stinky or, you know, a little bit of a knothead during the show, then that may, in a market class, it may not necessarily impact the judge's decision, but it will. It's harder to show that animal to the best of your ability when it's being like that. Now, in a showmanship class, the way that your animal reacts to you and how you're able to show it is exactly what he's looking for. So when you end up with one of those animals that's having a little fit out there, it's frustrating. You know, and you'll sometimes, even these older kids, they've worked and worked and worked with these animals, and they have that experience of 9 years. But they get out here, and that animal has its little come apart moment, and it can cost them the chance for that top placing in a showmanship situation.
I mean, it's just such an interesting competition where so much of the control is out of your hands.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're dealing with wild animals here at the end of the day. No matter what, you can't have 100% control or
absolutely
nearly as much control as you would like to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, tomorrow when we do the hog show, which our hog show will start at 8 a.m. On tomorrow morning on Friday, and then it'll be followed with our goats. And when we see the hogs, you're going to look at this and think this is utter chaos, because the hogs are shown a lot differently. Obviously, you can't have your hands on a hog like you do a lamb. And so when you see them come out, and they use little sticks to help guide them where they need to be. So it creates a whole nother level of interesting chaos. But interestingly enough, there is a method to the madness, and those kids, you can still tell which hogs they have worked with. Oh, I think Jim's going to talk.
Okay, how about a round of applause for our second class here. These are the heavier weight lambs, and still nothing that's really heavyweight. There's nothing that's outsized here that's kind of out of our market acceptability. And some really, really nice lambs to be standing down here in 5th, 6th, and 7th. We're going to go with our 7th place lamb here with one that when he walks in, he walks a little close at the back and a little out at the hock. So he kind of has that look to him. And then he doesn't balance up quite as well. He's a little bit deeper fronted. He's a little bit wider fronted and gets a little bit, he's wedged the wrong way. He progressively gets a little narrower and progressively gets a little shallower. He is a lamb that has adequate bone, way more than adequate muscling, and a really nicely conditioned lamb, an easy blue ribbon lamb. He would probably look better with a little more wool on his legs just to make him have that appearance of bone, but the bone is there. There's enough there for us. These two lambs, I sure won't argue with you if you want to flip them. There's not a lot of difference in them. This lamb is a little bit lighter legged and a little bit softer in his pastern set on the rear, but he's actually wider pinned and a little bigger ribbed, and you'd like maybe his skeletal structure just a little more than the blue lamb. Another really, really nicely conditioned lamb. The blue lamb handles with a little more top in him, handles with just a little more upper leg, maybe not quite the lower leg. Maybe from the side a little bit more attractive, but those two are basically a flip of a coin, just depending on what your type is. Both of them really, really acceptable kind of products, and I appreciate the care that's gone into feeding and presenting those lambs, all 3 of them. These that we have up here, I'm not going to place right now. I kind of have some placings in my mind, but it just makes it easier here in our star class. These are our purple ribbon lambs, and you can see there's some slight differences in them, but they're all just really high quality, way more than average muscling, all pretty well conditioned, differences in condition, but all acceptable, and then structurally just really nice kind of lambs. So we're going to ask them to come back in, and we have 3 seniors up here, and we have an intermediate, right? And all of these are going to fit into our showmanship drive. We're going to be looking at them for showman. And then we're going to ask the young lady here with our blue lamb, our junior, to come back in our showmanship drive. Okay? So here next, we're going to bring all of you back in. We're going to pick our champions, and then we're also going to place our showmanship. Okay? So you'll come back in when they do. Let's give them one more big round of applause. Nice job, guys. Really a nice class. Again, easy blue ribbons all the way down through. I think that you're all aware of what you should be doing, and you've placed yourselves really well in the showmanship. I just maybe want you to stay a little closer in line, pay a little more attention to your lambs, but you're doing a nice job. Thank you.
Our judge Jim said it best. A great job across the board for everyone out there. We're going to take another quick break, but don't go far away. We'll be right back here at the 2020 Rich County Fair, brought to you by Stotz Equipment in Preston, your local John Deere dealership.
You don't want to choose between quality and quantity. And with John Deere 6M Series utility tractors, you don't have to. The powerful loader tractor with incredible visibility and maneuverability allows you to easily make your way through tight corrals, feed your herd, bale your hay, and mow in comfort. With 8 models ranging from 110 to 195 horsepower, the 6M is fully customizable, so you get everything you need and nothing you don't. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us, Stotz Equipment, your local John Deere dealership, located in Preston at 451 West 800 North. Stop by today or give them a call, 208-852-3660.
And welcome back here to the Rich County Fair. We're going to have a combination of our 2 classes come out now. You want to tell us who we will see in the pen?
Absolutely. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a very unique final drive that you're going to see. So we're going to have both our market and our top showmanship exhibitors are going to come back into the ring. We have coming back for the market. We have James Wamsley with a lamb weighing 114. Bodie Levitt weighing in at 122, Araya Osler at 124, Cassidy Groll at 129, Chasley Levitt at 131, Rebecca Wamsley at 133, and Jaden Groll at 139. Those are our animals that are going to be competing for our Grand Champion, Reserve Champion Market Lamb today. We'll also see those same competitors competing in their age divisions for showmanship. And we're going to add that we'll also see Sarah Wamsley and Carson Groll and Katharina Smith. Will be 3 more that will come back into the ring that will be competing in their age divisions for top showman in our lamb division.
And do you have a sense of a grand champion pick?
I do not. You know, I've done some livestock judging in my days, and I find with the lambs that you got to get your hands on them. It's a little bit that
it's too hard to tell with the naked eye.
Yeah, you know what kind of is.
You don't want to choose between quality and
I
quantity.
think that
that
if we, I don't even know where I would even guess. This is a really, really good class of lambs. I see a lot of competition between. We got some siblings out here that are in this final drive. So again, that's like we talked about earlier. I think that can be a good thing, and it's a little cutthroat sometimes with those siblings. So sometimes they're not as bad, but.
And we look at our first class competitors out here. You have Carson Groll and his lamb Slingshot.
Yes.
James Wamsley
Wamsley
with Mr. WOM.
WOM.
I'd love to know what those set of initials stand for.
You know what? How about if we find that out before the sell on Saturday?
Absolutely, great idea. Sarah Wamsley with Ferdinand. That's one of my favorite names right there.
A lamb named Ferdinand.
Yeah, a little tribute to Ferdinand the Bull. And Bodie Levitt with Pig. So to make it very simple for broadcasters like us, naming your lamb Pig, that won't cause any issues.
No
And
confusion.
Araya Oisler with Bucky.
Bucky. Again, it's always so fun to see the names that these kids come up with. I know that my kids always came up with some pretty creative names.
What is the process kind of like for naming these? I mean,
You know, every kid is a little bit different. Some of them see something and they're like, oh yeah, that it reminds them of something, you know, a show or something that they really like. Others, it's based on their temperament, like you said with Hyper, you know. Is that lamb a little bit hyper, so they name it Hyper?
do you find that most kids name their animal right when they get them, or do they give it kind of a week to figure out what persona they sort of have?
I think that a lot of that depends on the exhibitor's persona. Some of them want to, you know, that animal's, the minute it comes home, it has a name.
Uh-huh.
You know, others are a little bit more aloof about it. Yeah, I'll give it a name. And then they come up with something. But, you know, we had a lamb one year that decided it wanted to be an escape artist. And it did.
I
It
get to see
escaped.
a lamb escape here so far today. Is that common or uncommon for someone to lose control of their
Common.
animal? Common. So
Common.
far so good.
Yeah, so far so good. These kids have had good hands on their lambs, but yeah, we had an escape artist one year, and it decided at the time we lived right along some of the mountains in Box Elder County, and that lamb decided he was going for a hike, and he did not just go for a hike; he disappeared. And this was actually the night before weigh-ins, so this is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, that lamb needed to be at weigh-ins by 8 a.m. the next morning, and so when we walked out and that lamb was gone, he got a new name, and he went from being Blackie to Satan, because he had a little bit of the devil in him.
Yep. And you never found Satan?
We did find Satan.
Where was he hiding?
He was hiding quite a ways up the mountain, to be honest with you. And the way that we found him is we had a friend that had a little prop plane, and he flew that mountain range looking for that lamb till he found him.
And you were able to spot him up from the prop plane.
Yep, they saw him.
That's
and
incredible.
It is incredible.
Did he just radio down some coordinates and you guys sent a task force in?
Well, I'm trying to remember if at that point in time how we had that happen. I mean, this was a few years ago. My kids were a little bit younger, but when this happened. But I'll tell you what, the props go to my sister, because my sister rode with him, and I think it took her a long time to go back to the normal face color from green after riding that mountain range with him. So.
I bet. And Brandy, one more time, let's run through the names of all the kids we have out here.
So we've got running in the final drive for our market class, we have James Wamsley, Bodie Levitt, Araya Osler, Cassidy Groll, Chasley Levitt, and Rebecca Wamsley. We have those exhibitors, plus Katharina Smith, Sarah Wamsley, and Carson Groll that are in the final drive for our showmanship.
And it's just so admirable to see such a wide group of ages here.
Yes.
And you're seeing the youngins just fit right in with the more experienced veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of these kids, you know, they've had siblings show, and so they kind of know the process. You know, they've been drugged to lamb shows since they were probably just young, and so, you know, this was when they got their own lamb. It was just a matter of, oh, now it's my turn.
What's the process like for a kid to pick which animal they want to really grow for months?
You know, that also is interesting. You know, some kids want to, they like the look of that lamb, and for whatever reason they just like it. But there's others that they are looking for all of the same qualities that our Judge Jim Jensen is looking at for. You know, they're looking at it, trying to vision what that lamb's going to look at the end. What is it going to look like? Is it going to, you know, is it going to put on the weight that they want it to put on? But he's getting close. I have a feeling that he's getting close. He's down to these.
He's kind of cut the for the herd really in half.
Yeah, he has. And he's got a plan here.
Is there a pecking order for which animal tends to be more difficult to raise than others?
Oh.
Or are they all pretty tough?
I think that they each have their unique temperaments. and some are extremely frustrating to work with, at least in my mind. You know, I actually grew up on, you know, a cattle ranch and a farm, and we showed sheep. And the reason that we did is there were 5 girls in my family and 1 boy, and my dad just didn't want to see any of us girls drug across the ring by a steer. So that's why we got the lambs. It was a little bit of a hard pill for him to swallow, having lambs there on the ranch, but you know, it made him feel better that none of his girls were going to get drug across the ring. My brother showed some steers, but
I'm sure your father, like all these kids' parents, were so proud to see them out in the ring, and that's got to be going through all these parents and grandparents and friends and families' minds right now, as these kids' hard work is paying off.
You know, honestly, it's not just the kids. It is the parents and, you know, the family that support them, that get them here. I mean, you know, these kids can't go pick up their own lambs, and they can't drag them here. And it's their parents that are hauling them everywhere they need to go and helping them. A lot of these parents front the cost on the kids' animals and their feed, you know, until these kids get their check at the end of the season. So, you know, it's not just a time commitment, it's a money commitment.
What is the money commitment to raise a single lamb?
Oh, boy, that's, you know, it depends on how much they're buying them for. Some of these lambs, you know, they may have been able to purchase one of these lambs for $120. But others, depending on which breeder they got them from, you know, they may range as high as, you know, $400, $600 or even more. You know, we have some good genetics here in our county. And so, you know, some of these kids are able to get some from some local breeders, and which is a lot of fun to see that kind of competition from local breeders. But it really varies from breeder to breeder and maybe where they go to get their lamb. But I remember, you know, back when my kids could buy a lamb for $75. And of course the feed costs also are a huge difference too, depending on what type of feed. Feed can range, you know, it just varies a lot depending on what you want. Some of these kids are buying custom feed. They're creating their own feed rations and creating their own feed and buying custom feed. I mean, that's pretty incredible that they get to that point, that they can help figure that out. And they you know, of course they have the help with their parents too, because that's where their knowledge base comes from. But you know, other kids, they're going up to Murdoch's and, you know, out to Argyle's to get, you know, just whatever he's got for sale there, and their animals do pretty good on it. And I wouldn't actually say that there's one better than the other. I think it depends a lot on your animal.
And now our official Jim here doing what I would think would be the last round. I mean, he had them in 2 groups, and now he brought them back together.
Yep.
So either he's got to start over, or he's just checking everyone else out one last time, and we might get an announcement.
Yeah, I think he's feeling pretty good about things. I have a feeling here. We'll see what he does, but he wants to make sure that he has not missed something.
And after this, we're going to have plenty more here at the Rich County Fair. We'll move into our steers, I believe. Yeah,
and we've got just a little break for that. Our steer show will start at 5:30. And, you know, our steer numbers are a little bit down, but we're up this year from last year. So we have 5 steers. We'll have 1 class of steers. So they will come in and they will be placed. That is the final drive. It is everything all in one with 1 class.
And tell us about the schedule for the rest of the week here, when people can be tuning in and what to be watching.
So tomorrow morning, our hogs will start at 8 a.m. And from there, let's see, I got to look. I think I got to make sure that I got the right time. 10 o'clock, I believe, is what time our goats are gonna start. Let's see. I don't want to give bad information here. We've had to change our schedule from what was originally in the fair book just because of this COVID situation. So it is a little bit different. Swine will be at 8 a.m. Goats will be at 10 a.m. For the 4-H. We'll continue on Saturday with our sale and auction, and we are super excited about that. You know, I feel very optimistic about our sale this year.
What time will that begin?
Our buyers can start registering at 10 a.m. and if they are buying in person. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a fun little treat. We're going to have what we call our little Cloverbud Parade. And what that is we've got these little kids that are younger than 3rd grade, not old enough to be in 4-H yet, and they are going to they're going to come in and lead some animals. And they're going to tell us a little bit about who they are, and I think it's going to be a real treat. Then at 11:30, our auction will start. So I'm so excited that you guys are here.
Oh, we're very happy to be here, and we're just very, blessed and so fortunate to be able to have such great events right now with everything that's going on around us. For Rich County to still be able to have this is fantastic for all the kids and their animals.
I think so too. Okay, this is really interesting. So I'm watching Jim.
He's got us in 3 groups right now, or 4?
It looks like he's got us. Well, he's pulling things back around again. And again, we got to remember he's judging both market and showmanship. So I can't decide if he's, what's he doing right now? Is he looking for the market? Is he looking for the showmanship?
I can't tell.
We got 3 seniors standing here. So he might be looking at that showmanship.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's moments away from making a decision or a couple more minutes. It looks like he's got really a tough decision to make here, and that just shows what a great job all these kids did if they're making his job this much of a hassle.
It really is true, considering that we're not a great big program. We're a pretty small little program, and he's thinking hard. This is really good. Okay, I don't quote me on this, but I think he's placing our showmanship kids right now. Looks like he's got all of our seniors that are pulled out. So I think he's looking a little bit at that showmanship.
How much practice goes into these kids when they just whip around the lamb's head and just go to the other side here?
Oh my gosh! Do you know what there is some techniques, and so there's a reason why they're doing that. They want that lamb to be what the judge sees, and so they are trying to always keep the lamb between themselves and the judge. So that's part of what that is, and there is a lot of practice that has to be done. You'll notice that with some of these kids, I don't know if you saw, they made funny little turns. He would ask them to come forward or to return to somewhere, and they made funny little turns. They kind of went out and around and squirreled a little here and there. Well, they did that so that at no given time were they standing between the animal and the judge. You want him to always see your animal. And that's part of what he's looking at with the showmanship techniques is, are they keeping those animals so that he can see them? Yeah, this is really kind of fun. This is so different, but I am so excited how all of this is coming together. I am so grateful that he is the caliber of a judge that he can help us figure this out. I mean, there's some judges that if we asked them to do showmanship and market at the same time, they may quit on us.
It's a difficult job, no doubt, and it's being made more difficult because of the outstanding job these kids have done raising these lambs here.
Yes. I have to tell you that again, we may be small, but we are mighty here, and absolutely. We bring out some excellent animals. These kids raise excellent animals, and they're excellent showmen.
It just goes to show quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
And I think he's about ready. We keep saying it, but
I think so
just when it looks like he's going to turn his mic on and give us a final countdown of placements, he
shakes it up again.
Yeah. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Our producer, Elon, here, he's just as confused as we are. And this is just fantastic to see, and I'm sure the nerves continue to build for all of our competitors in the pen right now. He's checking one more time, and that's what you want. You want, for the judge to see everything about all the work you've done. You don't want to just get one check and move on.
Absolutely. I appreciate that he's taking, a little bit of an extra time to put his hands back on that animal again and feel him. And, I can't tell if he's visiting with the kids. Sometimes the judge will ask the kids questions as they go.
What kind of questions would he ask?
He may ask them what they feed. And their feeding rations and what they're feeding them.
It's incredible that we joke about the time being taken here for him to make a decision, but I mean it's nothing compared to the months they spent preparing for this moment. So you look at it that way, we're looking at months ready for just 10 minutes in here.
Oh, absolutely.
So if 10 turns into 15, that's much better for them.
Yeah.
Because of how much time they put in working for this, so they want the best decision and, you know, for their lamb to get looked at 100%.
Absolutely. You know, it's these kids, you know, standing out here in the sun, you know, them and their animals. I mean, they're performing at the highest quality possible under, you know, grueling conditions. And it's pretty warm out here today. So
it is. It's really a beautiful day here in Utah.
Yeah.
And in Rich County, a wonderful Thursday. We're happy to have you along with us here at the 2020 Rich County Fair, brought to you by Stotz Equipment in Preston. And we have a loose one here.
We do. It happens. But
and it's great to see people helping out, too.
Absolutely. I don't know if you
it's
caught
a community.
that, but it is. I mean, her lamb got away. That happens. And the other exhibitors were right there with their hands ready to help her catch. We also had our county agent for USU Extension, Dallin Smith. He's in the ring with the judge. He's ready with a shepherd's hook, which he hasn't had to use today. He likes to use that shepherd's hook, though.
And
what's
he's going to call his clerk Taylor over.
Okay, something's going to happen here.
And we'll tune in here to the crowd mic so you guys can listen to official Jim.
Okay, really nice class, both showmanship-wise and quality-wise. How about a round of applause for our kids here that, in my opinion at least today, are showing the animals that kind of fit my expectations and are doing a super nice job showing. I'm really impressed with them, especially for this small of a show. Thank you. So our junior exhibitors here today, my first place showman's going to be the young man right here in the cowboy hat. He does a really nice job watching the feet and legs, bracing the lamb, being where he needs to be. The difference between him and the young lady right next to him that's going to be my second place showman is he pays just a little more attention to those feet and legs and sets them up and squares them up just a little faster. But she also just really does a nice job. Thank you. That'll be our top two juniors. Okay, the intermediates, it was really close. And we have a couple of little things, one that maybe puts the hand on the lamb a little too often and makes it sag, one that maybe tips the nose up and keeps the head a little too high, and one that doesn't pay quite as much attention to the feet and legs. And it kind of happened all the way through the show, and they did a nice job with that. But maybe if the young lady that does such a nice job with everything except maybe making the lamb sag just a little, we could have sure used her up quite a bit higher if it wasn't for that little thing. But she does a really nice job. My first place in the intermediate showman, that's the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, going to be the young man right here in front of me. And in a really close placing, the young man right next to us here that maybe could watch the feet and legs just a little more over the young lady down here. But a real high honorable mention on our 3rd place. Nice job, guys. Okay, on our seniors. I decided a while ago how I was going to place these lambs, but I've just been moving them to try and separate them out. And it's pretty tough. It's tough to separate them. We didn't really have any problems there, and it just kind of got better and better. And when you watch them, and they are paying such close attention to the feet and legs, the difference to me here today was the one that I'm going to use first, although not really any better on the feet and legs, also kept the top up and square, and that's kind of what sorted her out. Young lady right here will be my first place showman. The way all of them moved their animals, the way they set them, the way they squared them, all looked really good. And it was kind of this was my problem area here. That's why I spent maybe just a little more time on them, was trying to sort them out. All 3 of them do a really nice job. Young man pays the most attention to the feet and legs. The young lady right next to him maybe a little more to the top, but maybe not quite positioned as well as often. And then the young lady up front really, really positioned well. Really a good bracer from the profile, does a really nice job, but presents the lamb before it's quite ready, and the feet and legs are not quite set. So that's kind of what I've been sorting out. I think right here at the end, when I went through and handled them again, that I've moved the young man here up into second place. He'll be my second place showman. Nice job, all of you, all the way down through in showmanship. Congratulations. Okay, would you put your lamb right here? Would you bring yours right here? Would you bring yours right here? Would you put yours right here? Right here? Right here? And then just bring those in just like they're standing. For me today, the most complete lamb, not the most exceptional in spots, but the most complete lamb for me, more than adequately muscled, really, really nicely conditioned, well presented, well fit. Everything about this lamb is just kind of right to the top of the class. He's not quite as deep as the one we have next to him in his top muscle. And all of our muscle has 3 dimensions. We have the length, width, and depth. And he's giving up just a little bit of depth, maybe just a slight bit of width, but he's considerably longer. And he's a little bit trimmer. And I'm not going to call this lamb too fat, but he's carrying a little more condition than maybe than maybe I would like to see him have. But he is the one that carcass-wise may be that lamb that you look at in the cooler, especially when they rib them, and you can see the size of that top muscle there. He's going to give up just a little bit of 3-dimensional muscle, however, with that overall length. And then there will be just a little bit more trim on him. My champion lamb is going to be the young lady over here. My reserve champion is going to be the young lady standing next to her. A lamb that might be right to the top if it had just a little more days on feed, a little more size. The lamb that's standing next here, just a really, really complete kind of a lamb, extremely attractive. Given up some overall volume of muscle to the 2 above it, and that may be a matter of just being a little smaller. But I think that even if they were all kind of about the same size, that although you'd really like the attractiveness of this lamb, he's going to give up just a little bit to those above. A lamb here that's standing in 4th, that's quite a bit shorter spine, shorter body, giving up a lot of that 3rd dimension. And then when you watch him walk from behind, he's not quite as correct. When you see the way that his hock and feet set under him, he just doesn't quite have that hock shape, but extremely wide-pinned and wide-topped, just like to maybe lengthen him out and then structurally fix those hind legs just a little. The lamb that carries down the deepest in his hind leg is the one that's standing in next. I thought this was going to be the real powerhouse. I kind of expected him to be the lamb that I have up here in second. But when you handle him, it's just not quite there. It really looks like it, but as you handle the 2, he's given up quite a bit of power there. The lamb that's next is a really short-hipped kind of a lamb that you just absolutely love the top on. But that hip is just a little bit short and a little rounded. And then a lamb that he just is wide across the top. He just looks like you could set your plate there and really appreciate this lamb that the young lady's got with the cowboy hat on here. But he's just given up a little bit of hip length and a little depth. Extremely expressive muscle, just not carrying quite as much muscle as the others. Then some that are just, we brought back in our showmanship group. We've talked about them in class, but just a really nice class all the way down through. I hope that you can kind of see what I'm looking at, but I'm really impressed with the quality of animals and our showmen here, especially for this size of a show. Let's give them one more big round of applause. Nicely done, guys. Thank you.
And a great job by every single person involved here from top to bottom, and well-deserved placings for those who came up top. And just overall, you got to tip your cap and really appreciate all the hard work they did for this moment here, all the hours, the months, the weeks that went into this moment here. And great job by every single one.
You know, this is really exciting. I love to see the work that these kids have put on. I am so grateful for Jim. I think he did a great job with that. So our grand champion lamb for today is for the market show is going to be Cassidy Groll. Congratulations to Cassidy. I think that is so exciting. You know, they breed and raise their own lambs. And so there's a lot of thought process that went behind the genetics on what she wanted to show for that lamb. So that is really exciting. I think that maybe it's even worth noting that Cassidy has done a wonderful job. She was our grand champion lamb the last 2 years.
Yep, Cassidy going to be a junior this fall at Rich High. I'm sure her parents, Sean and Sherry, must be so proud of them. And
Absolutely.
So proud of her. And Brutus is the name of her champion lamb.
Brutus brought it home for her this year.
Yep, so we're going to have our steers up next.
Yes. Our reserve champion for this year is going to be Rebecca Wamsley. That is super exciting too, that she has a reserve champion lamb this year. You know, interestingly enough, actually her sister got reserved last year, so, you know, a little sibling competition there. They can compare belt buckles.
Yeah, this is Rebecca's 9th year here and going to her senior year at Rich, and Sparky provided her the reserve champion.
That is awesome that he got it home. So right now we're getting ready to do some pictures, and we'll take some pictures with our judge and our grand champions and reserves and their families. This is a tradition here that we always do. We get these pictures, and it's a lot of fun for these kids. But congratulations to those kids. I think it's worth noting his showmanship placements. Our grand champion junior showman for this year is Carson Groll. First year showing this year for Carson. So, and he's a caboose in his family. He's the little tail end, so he's had a chance to watch his other 3 siblings show, and good for him.
And just his 2nd year here in 4-H.
First year,
I beg your pardon. And Slingshot, the name of his lamb.
Yes. And then our reserve champion in the junior showmanship is going to be Sarah Wamsley. And congratulations, Sarah. You know, she also is the youngest in her family, and so maybe she picked up a few techniques from her siblings too.
Yep, and Ferdinand, the name of Sarah's lamb, and we're very proud of all the hard work each and every single one of our contestants here put in over the last couple months.
Great. They have done a great job. Our intermediate grand champion showman is going to be Bodie Levitt.
Bodie Levitt, son of Jason and Callie, and Pig. We talked about him. Pig ends up coming in here big for Bodie.
Oh, absolutely. Pig was the grand champion intermediate lamb. So there you go. Pig the lamb. Our reserve champion's going to be James Wamsley. Good job, James. I think that's so fun that he was able to secure that reserve spot for him this year.
James, and we're gonna find out what the name is, because it just says Mr. W-O-M.
Mr. W-O-M.
So I'm very curious what W-O-M stands for.
Well, whatever it is, he obviously, you know, they did something good here.
James will be an 8th grader this fall. He's had 5 years under his belt in 4-H.
And our senior showman this year, this is exciting too, Araya Osler. So Araya and Cassidy are sisters, and so that is a lot of fun that they both have a champion buckle, one with the market and one with the showmanship.
Araya with Bucky, and we're going to come back in just a few moments here for our steers. Before we do, one more time, let's go through all the names of our competitors and just really congratulate them on a job well done.
Okay,
so
we want to just overview everyone?
Yeah, we'll start with Carson Groll and his lamb Slingshot in his first year here in 4-H. James Wamsley with Mr. W-O-M in his 5th year here in 4-H. Then his sister Sarah Wamsley with Ferdinand. Bodie Levitt with Pig. Rebecca Wamsley with Sparky. Jaden Groll with Spud. Katharina Smith with Woody. Daniel Smith with Hyper. Cassidy Groll with Brutus. Chasley Levitt with Gunner. Dottie Morse with Beast. Carter Groll with Tim. Damon Wasden with Blackjack. Dylan Wasden with Fuzz. Araya Osler with Bucky. And
yeah, we're back to the beginning.
We're back to Carson.
And one more last thought. Our reserve champion senior showman was Jaden Groll.
So congratulations to every single one of them that participated today, and not just today, but all the time they put in leading up to today. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be right back in just a few moments here with our steers. All of this provided by Stokes Equipment in Preston. Thank you so much for making today's broadcast possible here at the 2020 Rich County Fair.
Stokes Equipment, your local John Deere dealership, is your source for new and used equipment, parts, and service. The family-owned company was established in 1947 and still holds true to its founding values: quality, integrity, loyalty, caring, and community. From John Deere tractors and gators to mowers and handheld power tools, they have what you need to get the job done. Let them make your life easier. Stokes Equipment is located in Preston at 451 West, 800 North. Stop by today or give them a call at 208-852-3660.
Welcome back, and one last time, Brandy, can you tell us our champions before we get ready for our steers, and we'll take a few minutes break before then.
Absolutely. So for our Rich County Fair 2020, the year of all things that are hard, our Market Lamb Grand Champion is owned by Cassidy Groll. Our Reserve Champion is owned and shown by Rebecca Wamsley. Congratulations to the market class, and they did an outstanding job. Our Showmanship, our senior showmanship showman today will be Araya Osler with a Grand Champion and Jaden Groll as reserve. Our intermediate showman, our Grand Champion, is Bodie Levitt. Our Reserve Champion is James Wamsley. And our junior showman, our Grand Champion, is Carson Groll, and our Sarah Wamsley is going to be our Reserve Champion today.
All right, we'll be back in just 6 minutes here for our steers at the 2020 Rich County Fair. The steers wait for no one. We are ready here at the 2020 Rich County Fair. I'm Matthew Peterson. Alongside me here, I have got the wonderful Brandy Mills. I appreciate you spending some time with me today.
Matthew, I'm excited to be here. I'm just glad that you are here. And hey, you know what? Welcome to our neck of the woods, too.
It's great being here. I had an excellent lunch at the Crawford Trough. Delicious
Excellent.
burger. And let's introduce our wonderful steers and their owners today. We have Gunnar Jackson with Petey. That's my nickname, so that hits home a little bit. And Jalen Downing. Jake, I've been partying with T-Bone.
Oh, it might be amply named.
Faith Downing with Tank. I think that's a very fitting name when you look at these steers in front of us. Hillary Rex with Shaggy. I love Scooby-Doo, so I love that name. And then Hannah Rex with Scooby, right on time.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Scooby and
Sisters,
Shaggy.
yeah.
So all great names here, and 5 beautiful-looking steers.
They really are. These kids have done an outstanding job. I am so excited to see these steers come and perform today. Our steer show, last year we just had 2 steers that were competing. So this year we've doubled, and we almost tripled. We actually had a 6th steer, and unfortunately the little guy broke his leg, so the little showman couldn't bring him in. So these 5 steers, I am so excited to see them out there. Look at how well they're fitted today. These kids have done an outstanding job getting these steers ready to show.
What a moment it must be for so many of these kids to be bigger than their steer when they get them.
Oh, well,
to
yeah.
Look at it now.
Well, and when they get them, they actually they're beginning weight. Most of them are. These steers are still outweighing these kids in the beginning.
Just in height wise, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
The poundage,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, and we've got a couple of none of these showmen out here today they're not tall by any means. Every single one of these kids, you can barely see their cute little faces over the top of their steers. So they're at a disadvantage, that's for sure. Our steers today are ranging from 1,272 pounds to 1,458 pounds. Here at the Rich County Junior Livestock, we do have our maximum weight for our steers is 1,500 pounds. So we didn't have any that topped over that this year, but we got some right up there. So I love that these steers are all really close to each other in that optimal weight, that weight zone that our Judge Jim Jensen is looking for.
We just had Judge Jim look over our lambs, and I mean, completely, I'd imagine 180 now what he's reviewing here.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about maybe the differences, the big ones, from, besides, of course, one's a lamb, one's a steer,
right.
But what's he really targeting that's not seen in another group?
It's a little bit different for each species, and, obviously he's looking, when you're looking for a market class, he mentioned this in the champion drive with the lambs, he mentioned that there was one lamb that he did really like, that he says this one is going to be good on the shelf. That is our bottom line, is what are these steers going to look like on the shelf? And what is our consumer going to see at the end of the day? So for the most part, he is looking a lot for the same type of different things that he looks for in every market animal, is what is that end product going to look like. Now I'll tell you, with the showmanship, I'm not a steer showman. I didn't show steers, but it's a lot. Every species has its own techniques with showing, and it's you'll see that these kids have a stick with them. The sticks, they have a little hook on the end that is to help them pick up their feet. So you're wondering what that was for?
I was curious. Yeah.
Also notice that obviously with a steer, its size and everything, they show with a halter, where the lambs don't. And so they do this obviously for control, but if you notice all these show halters, they have a chain that runs under their chin. I know that there is actual real reasons why these halters are built the way that they are, but those chains, oddly enough, for some steers are almost comforting. They can roll that chain a little bit back and forth, and it gives a little comfort to that steer, as odd as that sounds. And so I don't know, and I hope that my nieces and nephews, don't hear my commentary on the steer show, because they are good showmen with the steers, and they would say I'm saying it all wrong.
Well, once again, if you're just joining us, we really appreciate you making the Rich County Fair part of your Thursday afternoon here on mylocalradio.com. I'm Matthew Peterson, alongside me, Brandy Mills, and we really appreciate you joining us. And here we have the steers competition. We just wrapped up the lambs for both classes, had a fantastic showing across the board from everyone, a lot of great work being displayed, and now we've got our 5 steers. We'll run through our contestants one more time. Gunnar Jackson with Petey, Jakin Downing with T-Bone, Faith Downing with Tank, Hillary Rex with Shaggy, and Hannah Rex with Scooby. Just need a Fred, Daphne, we'll get the whole gang together.
We would have the whole gang.
And our official here, Jim Jansen, did a great job earlier, and now his pool has shrunk a lot, but size-wise has improved a lot.
That is true. Pound for pound, there's definitely more pounds in the ring now than what there was in the lamb show. He's really looking at those steers today. I just really appreciate his judging techniques.
He does not jump to any kind of conclusions. No. He does his homework. He spends time looking at each animal individually, and I think an admirable thing that he does is that he looks for their best even when they're at their worst.
Yes.
So he'll circle back and look at them if they're
Absolutely.
more calm later on, if they're not when he's looking at them.
You know, he really showed that to us in the lamb show. You know, every kid got that second glance, which is really, like you said, absolutely that he'll come back and look at them. I really appreciated that.
Especially given the amount of time these kids spend getting their animal ready for this moment. It would be a huge shame if their animal just had a bit of a meltdown when the judge is standing in front of them and that's their shot ruined. No,
right.
He comes back for seconds and sometimes thirds and maybe fourths.
You're absolutely right, Matthew. And it is worth noting again, you know, these kids right here that are in the ring right now, these kids have, you know, most of them have been working with these animals since, you know, September, October, November, right around there. You know, here's a little fun tidbit. So we've got, you know, a couple different classifications of steers in here. We actually have steers that were raised to be actual show steers. That's what they're bred for. And then we've got some steers in here that came straight off the ranch. These kids went out last fall when their parents were getting ready to sell their commercial calves, and before they sold those calves and put them on the truck, they said, "I want to show those steers," and they chose their animals out of their commercial herds. So you want to talk about, you know, something that is a tout to the industry. You know, I think that's a lot of fun. That we've got both qualities of steers, and look at the quality. They are doing an amazing job all the way across the board.
We touched on this earlier when we talk about the lambs, but what's the daily life like when you raise a steer in comparison to a lamb?
A steer, you know, again, they're starting a lot earlier than what our other species are starting. And again, it starts with, you know, they're getting up and they're feeding these animals early in the morning. Excuse me, that wind keeps blowing.
Yeah, no, we got some harsh conditions out here in Rich County. Just a little bit of wind picking up, but continue.
So one of the things that these kids start very, very early on that is key with showing a steer is they want to break these steers to lead. And that can be a challenge. Obviously, these steers are bigger than the kids from the very get-go, and so it requires a lot of muscle to get these steers to break to lead. And it requires a lot of dedication, not just from these kids, but from their parents, because obviously these kids can't do it completely on their own. These steers tower over them and outweigh them right early on. So it's kind of, that's the biggest probably thing that these kids have done, is that they broke these steers to lead, and they are working with them every day from not just their feeding schedules, but they're taking these steers for walks, they're washing them, they're doing all the things that they could do to get it gentle.
And what's the process like when these kids inevitably go to school each day?
You know, most of them, you know, they'll get up and they'll feed even before they leave for school. And then when they get home from school, you know, however they do their homework or however that looked.
Oh, here we go. We
Round
have
of applause. These are a lot of work. And when my kids were going through the program, you just, as a spectator, you don't understand until your kids are involved, just how much work goes into it and what all's involved. This is our longest term project. They own them longer, care for them longer. It's also, it has its own challenges on getting them shown. For one thing, if they don't want to do something, they sure don't. They don't have to. They're a whole lot bigger than you. And all you have to kind of control them is that show stick, okay? So anyway, as they come in, we want them to have the head up. We want them to be showing that steer as they lead around. In order for that to happen, the steer has to be really, really well broke. And our kids out here are doing a nice job. Okay, so we want them to keep the head up. They look best that way. Just walk at a slow walk. Stay in line. When they stop, they can, if they're leading right, they'll have the lead shank in the right hand. As they stop, they'll switch hands and kind of walk them into position. I'm not concerned about if they're setting the back legs up completely square, or if they're giving me a show side look, which is the show side foot back just a little bit. As long as they're showing and presenting that steer the best that steer can look, I'll sure accept either one of those. it's a lighter muscled or weaker topped one and they're giving me that show side back, that might not be the best. If they need to maybe lengthen the appearance a little bit and they're giving me straight feet, that might not be the best. I'd like them just to present that steer so that he looks his best. They should, when I'm handling the animal, should still have the lead shank in their left hand, not the one they led with, but the left hand. Their show stick in the right, and make sure the feet and legs are square. And then we just watch how they handle the ring and how they handle the other kids, and that's what we're looking at in our showmanship. So we have, again in this class, 3 different age groups. Young man over here with the steer to my left is our only junior, and he does a really nice job. He'll be our junior champion winner. Congratulations, young man. Our intermediate class was pretty close. The one that did the nicest job setting feet and legs, staying in line, and then leading and presenting with a little more pizzazz, a little more up-headed. The young man here in the black cowboy hat, he'll be our champion intermediate. A reserve will be the young lady here right in front of me, and that was a really close kind of a placing. Our seniors, the young lady over here to the far right will be our first place showman for the same reasons, just a little quicker, a little more in position and turned right. I just assume you don't move in front of your animals when I'm handling them. That's kind of the danger spot. Stay on the side like the young man's doing here. Keep your stick in them and keep them kind of shown to me. But you know, both of our young ladies kind of move over in front in our senior division, and I just assumed that you didn't. But the reason the young lady over here is going to be our first place showman is just feet and leg work and stick work, and then the way that she stood and the hand that she used. What? Okay, so I messed up the senior and intermediate. Young man's a senior, young lady's our second senior, and then the young lady over here is our intermediate first place. The young lady right here is our intermediate second place. But all of them are just doing a really, really nice job. Let's give them one more big round of applause in our showmanship. Okay, young man, pull your steer out and put it right down here. This steer, for me, puts the most together today. He is the smoothest, evenest condition and has slightly more condition than anything else. He's by far the heaviest muscled. He's a little bit quicker to form, a little smaller made kind of a steer, but for his size, he's done just right. He's maybe, for me, structurally, he's a little bit wide in the front, a little straight in the back legs, but I think the combination of structure and muscle and condition, for me, he's a fairly easy top. Nice job, young man. That will be our champion steer. Our reserve champion is going to be the young lady over here on the end, if you'll pull in right behind him. This is the steer that has the second most of everything. Second most in the muscle category, second most in the condition category. Structurally, I may prefer this steer a little bit to the one right in front, but he's just given up so much in muscle and power. When we look at those carcasses, we want both the quality and the quantity. Steers, it's pretty hard to tell on quality. All of our market animals will fatten or lay on condition from the front to the back and the top to the bottom. So we know where to look for those indicators. We just don't know genetically what they're going to be. And if they're filled in that front flank, they're smooth and even over the ribs and carrying a little condition down in that rear flank, that's what we're kind of taught to look for all of the indicators. And these steers have that. Now, the grade is going to be whether they are genetically programmed to grade at that weight and that condition more than anything else, but it looks like these two have been really, really well cared for and fed, and they're well presented. Then in our third place, young lady here, if you'll pull up next, this is the third heaviest muscle. There's not a lot of difference between this steer that's going to come out in third and the young lady over here with the steer that's going to come out in fourth. These have about the same amount of condition. They're both really quality animals with plenty of capacity and plenty of design and structure. This is the heavier muscled one of the two. We're going to give blue ribbons pretty easily to both of these. I think that they fit into that really comfortably. Young man, if you'll pull in back here in our 5th place, this is the steer that for me is kind of borderline. I'm not going to say that he won't grade if he's genetically programmed to. He could not only grade but fit comfortably into that. For me, with the indicators of condition, he's right on the verge. When he walks, he's a little close at the hock, but you handle him and he's really got a nice big top in him, extremely long spine, enough capacity there. So I'm going to leave all 5 of them in my blue ribbon group. Like I say, for me, he's just right there. If he does happen to move up into there, he may be the highest cutting one of the 5 that we have out here, and might have a carcass that goes kind of right to the top. Structurally, he's not quite there though for me, but a nice class, all 5 of them. One more big round of applause. Nice job, guys. That's a nice class, a nice set of steers.
A great job by everyone here. And Brandy, why don't you tell us about our winners?
Oh, you know what? That is kind of fun. That went fast. I love the beef show. I'd like to watch it all day long if I could, but we went fast and everything turned out really well. So congratulations to our market steer for 2020 is going to be Jakin Downing. Our reserve champion market steer will be owned by Faith Downing. Our grand champion senior showman is Jakin Downing. Congratulations again to Jakin. And our reserve champion senior showman is going to be Hannah Rex. These kids did a great job showing their animals, so way to go. Our intermediate grand champion showman is going to be Faith Downing, and a reserve champion is Hillary Rex. Our junior showman grand champion is going to be Gunnar Jackson today, so they did great.
Once again, we want to thank everyone here that took part of this year. We'll run through our competitors, or I should say our contestants one more time. Gunnar Jackson, Jakin Downing, Faith Downing, Hillary Rex, and Hannah Rex. And congratulations to all of them once again, and a job well done across the board. That'll be just about it for today, but we're excited to have you back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. where we have our pigs beginning at 8.
Yes. That will be awesome to have our pigs come in the morning bright and early.
Yep, and then we'll keep the party going. At 10 a.m. we have the
Goats.
Thank you. So a lot on the plate tomorrow, so don't go anywhere. Well, go to bed first, but then you come back at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And once again, we really appreciate you making us part of your Thursday afternoon here at the 2020 Rich County Fair. My name is Matthew Peterson. Alongside me, Brandy Mills, and all this made possible by Stotz Equipment in Preston. Go get all your John Deere products and more there. And we appreciate you joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m., so we'll see you then.